Welcome to episode 2 of the 9-hour guitar build challenge. So, well, here we are. I'm still playing around on the router table. At this point, trying to figure out if I would like to attempt to shape the headstock like that. And I swiftly realised that actually, no, that would be sheer craziness. And yeah, in the end, I'm going to do it on the spindle sander later. The masking tape and super glue trick is absolutely awesome. Leaves very little residue. And yeah, when burnished down, is totally strong enough for this task. We use it to hold templates down and to hold things on CNC machines, and it's wonderful. Into the quiet. So we now have a rough outline for our neck.
What do you think, Tom? Oh, God. Okay, that's called wastage. That never existed. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use that to fret this guitar.
Yeah, do it. Finished.
I've got a load more wood coming your way.
So that was me stealing a quilted Sapili dead blow fretting hammer.
Hey, quick, look. Who's a pretty boy then? Oh, you're so sexy, James. Smexy, even.
James comments on our YouTube videos under an alias, calling himself Smexy, which is an amalgamation of smart and sexy. I disagree entirely.
Okay, hold on.
That's for the time-lapse.
Luigi.
Hello.
That is wastage. It's mine now.
Wastage.
Yeah. They polished it too much. It can't be sold as a tool. It's,
It's
too slippery. You might drop it because it's.
That's incredible.
Don't touch.
Sure, you have said them.
There's enough. We're making a bunch of them to go on sale, basically. I was going to use this, which is my standard one, to fret this hammer, but
Fret this hammer.
yes, fret this hammer. Okay, look, this is the problem. Actually, I get distracted by fine things.
That's a dead blow.
It's a dead blow hammer, and yeah, it's beautiful now. There will be more. Basically, every single little bit of wood that we can save is going to be saved for making pretty things. Okay, that's my stopwatch gone. Let's have a quick recap. Well, it's 11:30. So 55 minutes, 26 seconds. So yeah, that clock is slightly early, actually. Anyway, quick recap. No recap at all, actually.
Well, it's time for voiceover guy.
Good.
It appears that we're now at the stage. The outline is completely carved.
We're good.
Truss rod, carbon fibre, truss rod access, and essentially the neck is ready for a fretboard and to be carved, except for the fact that there was a little bit of tear out where the truss rod nut is situated. Before we glue the fretboard on, we have to get the angle planed nice and flat,
That's interesting.
because that's a real bugger to do when there's a fretboard in place.
That's interesting. Okay, forget that. I need to change something on that plane. I've obviously sharpened everything.
It's not like you don't have
I don't have a problem. I don't know what you're talking about.
You do have a problem. Far too many planes and an addiction. And understandable.
You can basically do anything, almost anything, with a good block plane. That's okay. The grain here was very cross-grained, so I'm slicing at an angle. It's also all over the place, actually. There's no way I'm going to choose an easy to work with. There's my. There goes that. Actually, maybe a little bit more.
Leveling beams are so useful, not only for leveling frets, but as precision, perfectly flat sanding blocks for any number of jobs. In fact, I tend not to use them for leveling frets. I prefer them for many other things.
This isn't a tutorial. Talitha wasn't the camera person when I said that earlier. I'm not going to talk through this whole thing. I'm just going to build and do a voiceover later.
I have several 16-inch leveling beams set up with 80, 120, 180 and 240 grit papers, and it makes this sort of job a breeze, especially when working with cross-grained or highly figured timbers such as this guitar today. Here are a few custom shop instruments coming together, and Robert Fripp's one of Robert's guitars. There's the factory floor from my studio. Just had to have a window there so I could shout at people. Just for fun. Now, contrary to my fears, the wood actually hadn't moved very much at all. When you have a large slab of timber and you cut away half of its mass, sometimes you have a case where it will immediately twist or basically start dancing on you. And luckily in this case it didn't. I had a little bit of excess to remove, a little bit of bow, but it seemed to work perfectly. Now that was probably a bad idea. Far too much dust in the air, as you can see. One thing that you can't have enough of when building guitars, or, well, to be honest, anything to do with woodwork,
How's it going?
is clamps. Work holding.
Do you need me for photos?
When you're ready, but
Yeah? Okay, cool. No such thing as breaks. Yes, Charlie is kindly trying to make our staff look attractive by dint of good quality photography. And of course, I've scheduled far too many things to happen today.
It's around about here that I realised that the nut
Yeah,
needs
thought
to be
so.
much deeper.
So,
So I have to go in there with chisels and gouges to try and make it a bit deeper without going too far. This is complicated massively by the fact that the grain is really difficult. The quilted sapele it's cross-grained all over the place. So, yeah, at this point I really was worried that I was going to go through too far. And, yes, maybe it's time to think about a different truss rod. Going back to work holding quickly, you can see in the background I've got a carver's vise. That's a fantastic Taranti carver's vise. I think it's called carver's chops as well. Behind that I've also got a little mini engineer's vise. I've also then got a bench vise and the ability to clamp to my workbench. You just cannot have enough options for holding your work.
what'd you get?
So all of this time could have been saved. All of this hand carving could have been saved with about 10 seconds. Maybe 30 seconds with the router, had I realised. So preparation is key in all things. This is a tiny, tiny, tiny 1.5 mil wide veining gouge, sort of with a swan neck type of thing, that just happens to be absolutely perfect for this job. And luckily I had to sharpen it very recently for another custom guitar, or master built guitar, that I had on. That little square is one of my favourite tools. So the carbon fibre strengthening strips are slightly too long and need to be cut down. Little vintage hacksaw makes short work.
I don't know if we need to glue this in or not. I don't think so. But just for fun, let's. I forgot which vice I was going to.
This is what happens when you have far too many vices. There's the wine, the women, the song, guitars, planes, fine wood, and PPI.
I don't want to get super glue on my new one.
Always wear eye protection when you fill a cavity with super glue and then hammer something into it. Put something directly underneath the neck rather than having a void makes the hammering much more positive.
Less super glue next time. I think technically I should be using epoxy.
I was slightly worried about the super glue seeping through the neck and discolouring it in places, but this is using our multi, which is a medium viscosity super glue, quite thick, thicker than the stuff you tend to get in stores at least, and yeah, it had no problems with that. Good old accelerator. And out with the leveling beam again. Taking just the tip of the excess carbon fibre off.
This is going to be so pretty.
And the neck does feel much stronger. Thinking. Idea.
1 hour and 11 minutes. Cool. Audio's still going. I don't know why I'm trying to choose which one.
They're book matched and virtually identical. We're not 100% certain what this timber is.
I'm almost...
We think kingwood.
I suppose. I really like this here.
Yeah, but because one of the jigs that I've got has a huge okay, so it's a back hinge, but with those located. So
Okay, I can't actually afford to spend the time choosing where I want this. So Cool. Okay, nut. Okay. I'm feeling quite good about myself so far.
It's a tradition, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the only reason you guys work here, is to tell me I'm going to fail at things. You horrible people, make me so sad. I like them really. Okay. Come on, James. Come here quickly. I have these two book mash pieces. The most obvious bit where it's book mashed is that, but I also love the way the black staining goes. So either I can have that cool stuff at the end and it looks like flame, or I can have that.
And you can show it's book matched. I would lose that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go. Okay, cool. That's quite cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an artifact of something, and chances are I'm going to sand through parts of it anyway. So let's.
You might sand through the black anyway as well.
No, I think it's throughout the whole thing. Okay, let me see. We have we need to start making fret slot templates, don't we, really?
Yes, we do indeed.
Luigi, it is 24 3/4, isn't it? It's a standard Gibson 24 3/4 for this model.
It should say.
Yeah, it's that one.
24 and 65.
I'm just double checking, because if I screwed this one up, that's screwed. Okay. Now, and it's only a 22 fret instrument. Okay, cool. Tell you what. This really is the point of no return. I'm going to take my glue downstairs. With a lid. I want to check out I don't do this very much anymore. So anyway, let's go and cut some fret slots. You're going to have more wood to make more hammers, are you?
We've got like another 4 or 5.
Oh, beautiful. That's all right. I don't feel quite so guilty about stealing that then. That was nice.
So we're currently using this, what are they called? Crosscut saws, maybe?
Nut.
I'm going to be setting the blade up in a small table saw soon.
So I want my 22nd fret. I want that there. That's my 22nd fret. That's my 23rd. There.
The blade is offset from the locating pin. I don't want to lose any more material at the end of the fretboard than I can help because of that fantastic dark figuring. So I need to know exactly where to put the fretboard in relation to the template and the locating pin. Hence all of that muttering to myself just there. So that tape marks out the end of the fretboard, and from there it's fairly simple. That sound in the background was somebody ripping all the sandpaper off the spindle sander. Poor Daniel, it went flying.
It's that old adage, measure, measure, cut. Then cry.
Naughty boy didn't adjust the height of the blade there.
Control knobs, anyone? Excellent. If I was doing this upstairs, I would be using a vacuum press going on. I'd be using the fantastic burnisher that BC Woodworks built for me. But I'm down here.
Technically, I didn't need quite so much masking tape to hold, or anywhere near that much masking tape for that matter, to hold this fretboard down. But we also want to keep it as flat as possible, so that the slots are of an even depth. So yeah, masking tape across the board, and we're sorted. That's just me marking the ends of the fretboard where the masking tape on the template is, because we want the four pieces to line up absolutely perfectly. Otherwise you end up permanently, semi-permanently supergluing your work to your template or your jig. And that's a bad thing, really. Line it up nicely. Make absolutely certain. With the accelerator, that's almost an instant bond.
Whoops.
Whoops, indeed.
Don't lean on the table just there.
No, absolutely not. Tripods. Not a good idea.
It's 22. It's 23. That's 1. Perfect.
The problem with this saw is that it tries to grab as it's going across. You'll see in a second. So it tried to pull itself across as it sort of got halfway across. Now, if you change the depth, there you go. I'm holding it as hard as I can. It's also, this type of machine is just not particularly safe. One other thing I found is, with this machine at least, if you cut one way and then pull the saw back through the same slot, it tends to widen it a little bit too much, which isn't a good thing. But after adjusting the depth, it is a very quick and easy way of cutting fret slots, albeit one that requires supreme concentration. As the slots get closer together, the offset is slightly confusing.
Come on.
And I tend to jump over and miss a slot or two, which is never a good thing. Something else to be aware of when using this type of machine is that the locating pin can get knocked. And that is one of the last things that you want to happen. You don't want that to move at all. Finally, bear in mind this is a 22 fret neck. I slot through where the 23rd fret would be. Go both ways. And that shows me how much we've taken off. It lines up pretty much perfectly. And now you double check.
Hey! Cool, let's go upstairs. How's it going?
Good.
What's...
Sits in here, basically, on this side.
Luigi,
Yes.
could you make me some control knobs?
Yes. Yes.
Sure.
How many?
4?
4?
Oh, there's two guitars worth, 4.
Yeah, okay, that's right. That's
King
no
wood.
problem. Thank you very much.
I like people who say yes.
I bet you do.
And,
Okay, hold on.
how's it going?
Aha!
So, the fretboard sits in, and these sits in. Yes. So we have.
Where are we then?
In this case, we have exactly.
1 hour 28. Woo.
Yes. And that sits in.
1 hour 28. Sheffield Steel.
That's the size thickness of the fretboards because we can't put them on the floor.
Whoops. That was a whoops in stereo.
Come on. This is supposed to be easy to get off. But when you don't have a purchase point... Aha, there we go.
So I make the stock that
Did that scare you? Kind of scared me a little bit. If I snapped that in half, that would have been fun.
Sad.
So it takes away.
Okay, so there we go. So this is the 23rd fret slot. Which is the edge of my fretboard. I cut it this close, at the end, sorry. I cut it this close so that I would lose as little of that sort of black flaming as possible. So I just love that figuring there.
I need to build a bench hook or two.
I used to love Japanese sauce. I now like them a lot less.
Japanese saws are fantastic at many things, but they are not as forgiving. And when you have many people borrowing your tools on a regular basis, then it does become a problem. You can put a kink in a Japanese saw far too easily. And at that point it's essentially useless. You have to hammer it, and that's not fun. Our fret slotting saw.
Where possible, put your tools away as you go. That's going to be stunning. Oui.
This is trying to locate exactly where the fretboard is going to be in the end. So you line up the 22nd fret, which in this case, this is the PAF, our PAF model. The 22nd fret lines up exactly with the end of the neck, inside of the neck pocket. And obviously I've drawn where the nut should be. And now, drill a locating pin.
This is probably going into some carbon fibre. Yeah, I'd say so.
Smell it.
So the holes are transferred straight through the fretboard into the neck. Put a 2mm toothpick, or piece of toothpick, in that hole, and you have a neck that lines up perfectly.
Whoop. That flipped a little sideways. I'm going to have to be doubly careful.
Fret end flush trim cutters are useful for many, many things.
Oh, what happened there? Woohoo!
Too many drawers. Too many things. Not enough tools ever.
I'm really not sure what the sign is for. It appeared on my bench when I was gone. Do you know, Sean?
What sign's this? Sorry.
This,
Don't fret, he'll be back.
and then Ben will return. I think they're just trying to distract me with randomness.
By the way, I placed you to code order.
That's fine.
I'm going to get an invoice soon and I'll let you know how much it costs.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Business never stops. In fact, that's half of the challenge of trying to build a guitar. Essentially, in one working day, stop singing. And that is to carry on the normal day-to-day stuff, the utter chaos that is Crimson Guitars at the moment, and still build a guitar. Well, there's Christmas songs.
Yep, we get.
Now, normally I put masking tape over the truss rod.
So many arguments in my head. Glue!
And I'm trying to decide whether to do that or not. In this case, not. It's a completely shielded truss rod. It's covered in some heat shrink material.
Okay. Now, clamping coils.
And if you're careful with where you put the glue, you'll be fine. Look at that. Alkaline. It's really, really good stuff. This is essentially Tight Bond 50.
Okay, so this is Kingwood. They haven't just frantically, very quietly told me to not forget to use White Spirit. Or maybe they did behind the camera frantically go, White Spirit, it's there. This stuff doesn't like being glued up. So before I glue it, I need to basically de-wax it. Which isn't something I've ever had to do, except on Boy in a Burl. See, Luigi's got my back. Okay. So that's, we'll let that dry for a second. The back of my neck is already slightly carved, so it's not a flat piece. So essentially, I'm going to clamp it down like so, after I put the White Spirit.
It is essential to have good quality clamps in your life. In this case, I'm using all record clamps, actually.
Somebody put that up here. That was, yeah.
Malicious.
All right.
Malicious indeed.
Come on then. Okay. While that's curing, tidy up.
Curing is the wrong word. Off-gassing is the correct word.
little dry. Just gonna buff that.
At this point, I'm feeling very paranoid about the thinners actually completely inhibiting the glue and stopping it from working at all. I'll let you find out if it happens or not. All in due time. So this is the Alkaline. Alkaline Professional. It is the licensed formula from Titebond of Titebond 50, which is what Gibson use. And it's a very, very good glue. So good, in fact, that we started selling it to Crimson Guitars now. One of very, very few third-party tools, or ancillary products, I suppose, that we sell as I record this. Always spread your glue out properly. Don't trust the pressure of the wood to spooge it out, which is something that I did for years. I would just put the glue there, put the two pieces of wood together and trust that it would spread properly.
I hate wasting things.
Now, before you put the clamping calls on or anything, always double check that it's in exactly the right position. I find it easier to have the entire neck suspended over the edge of the bench. So you clamp the call down and then clamp to the call. If you're looking for a set of clamps while you're setting up a luthier's workshop, you can't go wrong buying a lot of 4-inch clamps. You don't really need 6-inch depth at all, except when you are trying to put lots of clamps close together, in which case you sort of put a load of 4-inch around, leaving spaces in between them, and then have the 6-inch clamps in the middle, in between them all. But other than that, a 4-inch clamp is all you really need. Gluing bodies, gluing necks, fretboards, etc.
It's my water bottle. Pretty boy.
Yeah, exactly. So stage one, because I don't really need to much to create the entire model.
Yeah.
Because there's some geometry of the shape so this is the top side.
Glue excess is always a bit of an issue.
It's always more difficult where the clamps are.
If you leave it to cure fully, then you've got hard beads of solid stuff that could actually damage scrapers, etc., and just gets in the way. And that part of the build is over. Tidy up again. It really is so important knowing where everything is when you need it, especially in the chaos that follows when you're trying to build something in such a short space of time.
1 hour 45. So the fretboard is slotted, the neck is the right shape, roughed out at least, so the carving is going to be easier. Fretboard is glued on, although not radiused yet, and I decided halfway through not to route the outline of the headstock. I'm going to do that by hand in a little while. I also was just about to cut this out and then realized that I could potentially use that as backplate material. So something like that will get us, backplates. So we'll go and think about that in a little while. In fact, let's think about that now. Why not? Bump. So here's our template. Look at that. So we want the grain going perfectly. Potentially. Yeah, it's a pity I made that cut, really.
Right, yeah, okay.
Still, where are we? Typical, I run out of lead on a pencil that hardly ever runs out of lead in the middle of a time-sensitive thing. Yeah, it's not time-sensitive, I've got loads of time. Okay. So let's...
There are a few things more insulting to me than a backplate made out of wood, where the grain isn't lined up with the centre line of the body, or with the body wood, as it happens to be. It's just wrong.
Okay, there we go. So the grain lines up properly. I've actually also got enough here to do the second guitar, which is perfect. So yeah, fun times. Hee. I was desperately trying to figure out if I'd be able to get a second guitar out of this. It's impossible, so that goes to tool makers. And they're going to make some fantastic bits of kit. Is that audio still running?
No, it's not. Keeps timing.
Yours is better again.
What's your pencils?
No, yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Just about.
Oh, that's actually... I wasn't expecting that.
of those surfaces. Well, the reason why I've got this.
Are you guys ready to swap over to Letha and Sean? Because this is a good place for me to stop and have my photo taken quickly. Okay, so we have a gentleman here taking some photos of staff, and while I'm in between tasks, it sort of makes sense to stop for 5 minutes. So, well, this is actually part of the challenge, really. It's the fact that this is still a working day at Crimson. We're interviewing new staff as I speak. We have Toby and Phil arriving to do demos of some instruments and film some Tonehenge trials. We're developing new products, we've got machines running. It's chaos, and then in the middle, of course, I decide to go and do this. Well, hey. Anyway, so there we have a guitar. Fun times. Okay, well look, the time is 1:51:40. I am stopping. I'm not going to stop timing, because this is all in a working day. I'm going to go get my photo taken, and then we go from there. Fun times. Water, coffee. How's it going?
Alright.
You ready for me? Phil, how are you?
How you doing, buddy?
Good?
You alright?
And then just drop your head down, sort of looking at my feet or somewhere down here.
Looking at your feet, or yeah.
Turn your head to the left,
That's me trying to figure out which is the left.
up a little bit higher. Yeah.
And that's it for episode 2. See you soon.